Okay, let's get to the not exciting or interesting endless grind. I have about 3 hours of grinding ahead of me. Hi, Avanius. I didn't mean for that to take that long. That's kind of obnoxious. So yeah, we get to grind on this jerk for a while. Why is a monster on his back? So the Earth Eater is a... He's a refight of a boss from much earlier in the game called the Chocobo Eater. So the Chocobo Eater was a very early on fight that we fought back in, like, the Mihin High Road, very early on in the game. And the Chocobo Eater and the Earth Eater have a kind of a special thing in that once they take enough damage... So in the original fight, if you dealt enough damage to the Chocobo Eater, it knocked him on his back. And then when he was on his back, if you dealt enough damage, it would push him backwards along the arena. And then if you pushed him back enough and pushed him off a cliff, it was a different way to win the fight. However, he would do the same thing. He would occasionally push you back. And if he pushed you back enough, it would knock you out of the arena and you would then lose the fight. So kind of an optional fight. It's very hard to actually lose that fight, like to game over, like to actually dying. But it's very easy to lose the fight to being pushed off. So the Earth Eater is a refight of that. He's, in the monster arena, we have a variety of enemies that we fight a second or third time. And those, some of the enemies are just, they're like standard enemies, like basic enemies that are just extremely powered up. That's what we were, kind of leveling up on, for the past couple streams, just a bunch of those enemies. And then, as we get into the original creations and then into the final creations, now we're fighting either refights against bosses or original bosses that we don't fight anywhere else. So the Earth Eater's a refight. So in his case, when he is standing up normally, and hopefully you'll never see this, he counters your attacks with punches, and his punches basically instant kill your guys. And then he also has an ability called Megaton Punch, which is another instantly kills one guy ability. When we do enough damage to him, we knock him on his back, and his armor becomes a lot lower. So that's why I'm able to go from like 30,000 damage to 100,000 damage when he's on his back. But he counters every attack with Flare, which is a high-powered magic attack. Really, there's no way for us to avoid that. Like, he's going to do it no matter what. I don't really have a way to stop him from doing it, which kind of sucks. So, all that really ends up happening here is I just have to grind and weather the storm. If I kill the Earth Eater, he's going to give me Fortune Spheres. Yeah, like, the damage is huge. We have reached the point where damage is going to be gigantic, kind of no matter what we do. His damage off of Flare is thankfully fairly low. He's only going to do about 2,600 damage, maybe 3,000 damage per hit. So it's a pretty low thing. It's pretty useful because it's so low. It means that most of my characters will take about 3 hits off of it before they go down. But because all characters have Auto Phoenix, one of the other remaining 2 will automatically raise them. So there's no risk of losing this fight, thankfully. All we have to do is just make sure I have enough Phoenix Downs. And we're grinding out Fortune Spheres. I have to have a lot of them. I've only gotten a fourth of the amount I actually need. We're going to get up to 90, and then we're at like 49 Fortune Spheres right now. We're going to get up to 90 Fortune Spheres, and then I'm going to switch and start grinding on an enemy called the Greater Sphere, which functions very similarly to Earth Eater. It's another boss. It's a real total pain in the ass. I'm going to grind the Greater Sphere for a while, And then once the Greater Sphere is beaten, then we're going to come back and finish grinding on the Earth Eater. And it's not that it's flare farts. What it's doing is a lot of enemies towards the end of the game where we are either cast Reflect on themselves or automatically have Reflect as a built-in portion of how the creature works. And so if they cast a spell on me and I have Reflect, it's bounced back to them. But if they cast Reflect on themselves, it bounces to me. And a spell bounced off Reflect does not get bounced by another Reflect. So by casting Flare on himself and bouncing it to me, he's guaranteeing that he hits me with Flare. So that weird little, like, white, like, dome shape you see on his backside is the indication that he's casting it on himself, and then Reflect is casting back out. So it's a slightly obnoxious way of the game to make sure that I can't stop his flares. His flare will hit me no matter what. And so I just have to, as I said, I have to kind of weather the storm, and I have to kind of just deal with it. So we're going to be fighting him about 20 more times, on average. And then we're going to switch over to the Greater Sphere and fight the Greater Sphere about 30 to 60 times. And then this guy, I've got to fight another, like, 45 to 90 times after we're done with Greater Sphere. And yeah, I saw the last DLC of Gungeon's out. I'm really excited. I'm gonna have to go back. I was reading through the patch notes earlier. I know they originally said this was going to be a paid DLC. Is it literally? Is it a free DLC? Is it a free patch? I haven't gone and looked at the store yet. Easy way to tell. It looks like it might be free. Yeah, looks like it's a free update. Neat. I'm gonna have to go back and actually get my true 100% now. I'm gonna look forward to that. That looks very cool. Yeah, it is the last DLC for Gungeon. Gungeon is officially being put to rest after this. And Dodge Roll Games is going to move on to something else. I'm not going to lie. I really like Gungeon. I am glad that they are, you know, as they said, they're officially putting it to bed. And I actually am kind of glad for that, because I do want to see them coming out for something else. I mean, Gungeon 2 would definitely be cool, but I really wouldn't mind seeing something else come out of that group. Like, I somehow don't feel that they, okay. I honestly don't think they should go into an Enter the Gungeon 2 right now. I think they've done enough for Gungeon. I think Gungeon is good as a standalone game right now. Like, the only thing they can put into Enter the Gungeon 2, off the top of my head, is just more content. And if they were going to do more content, they would continue adding DLC to Enter the Gungeon 1. I do not know. I don't actually legitimately spend a lot of time watching content on YouTube, believe it or not. Like, there are a couple very, like, specific YouTubers that I will follow. And I will watch their content, but, it tends to be fairly few and far between. With all the stuff that I end up doing, I kind of don't end up having time to watch YouTube. Which is a very weird thing to say, honestly. What do I do? I mean, I end up, like, I spend 8 hours a day, weekdays, working. I spend on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday about 6 hours playing D&D. Wednesday and Friday, I spend about 6 hours going out and playing Magic. And then I stream for you guys on the days I'm not doing that. At least as of late. So it doesn't really give me a lot of time to watch. And when I'm doing something like working, I don't really have the ability to watch YouTube. I can listen to it, but I can't watch it. Unfortunately, I get when I'm at work, actually, believe it or not, I have not actually touched Kingdom Hearts in like 3.5 weeks. All that recording was done over, you know, the course of end of January to extremely early March. So I actually, I need to actually carve out some time for myself, like tomorrow. The episode that just went up for Kingdom Hearts is actually the last episode I have recorded. I've been trying to go and find out where the last remaining like stuff is that I need to collect, and just find it myself, but I've not been having any luck. I'm just apparently just not seeing it. So I'm just going to go look up where it is. That way I can record the final episodes. That way I can go kind of work on something else. Like, almost the entire next series has been recorded and has been recorded. So I'm ready to start putting up the next series. Which is Ace Combat 7. Which I enjoyed the ever-loving hell out of. That game was very, very fun. So if you're a fan of people playing flight simulators really badly, then you will enjoy watching it. And I actually have to still go back and I gotta finish Ace Combat 7. There's a couple things I haven't done yet that I need to do. But those are, like, unlike Kingdom Hearts, those are things that the game really kind of tells me what it is that I have to do, and then I just have to go do it. And some of it I gotta figure out because one of them didn't work the way I thought it did, so I'm still not sure what's going on there. But basically, I'm replaying through the game on the hardest difficulty currently available, using better planes than I had the first time I beat those. The problem with Hand of Fate 2 is that while I really like the design of Hand of Fate, and I really like the design of Hand of Fate, unlike something like Gungeon or Isaac or some of the other kind of roguelikes in that design, the actual gameplay doesn't have a lot of variance for me. Which is the issue. Like, you're still just pressing X to swing a weapon. Now, the stats of the weapon may change, and you may occasionally have extra effects, but that's about it. There's not really a lot of change in how the actual game is played. And when it comes to the card, so that's the combat aspects. The combat aspect doesn't really change much. When it comes to the card mechanic, it's just a matter of basically memorizing the individual cards that you come up to and then knowing how to manipulate the results of those cards. And what this ends up creating is a gameplay loop that feels very repetitive and not amazingly satisfying for me. And I say this as I sit here mashing the A button on, you know, the Earth Eater, and I'm not doing anything else, I know. But that's the problem with Hand of Fate 2. And, I mean, to a lesser extent, Hand of Fate 1. I felt that Hand of Fate 1 did some things a little bit differently. But, there's not this tremendously different gameplay loop. So I have myself not wanting to go back because I've done a lot of that already, and there's not a lot they can change to it that would have me really want to spend a ton more time with the game. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is a great game, and I love the game. Like, I think it's a great design. I love the design. I think there's a lot of great aspects to it. The actual combat is pretty satisfying, like the Arkham, Batman Arkham, you know, style. The thing about Gungeon and Isaac that catches my interest is, number one, there's a little bit more activity in the combat. You're trying to dodge, especially when we talk about Gungeon. Because I went back and I've been playing Isaac and working on the Isaac DLC off and on. But Gungeon more than Isaac, Gungeon has more active combat, in my opinion. Like, you do have a lot more kind of stuff going on. There's more bullets on screen. The bosses require a little bit more effort, in my opinion, in Gungeon. But the main thing for both Gungeon and Isaac is that as you play through, each individual item you pick up starts to gradually change how you actually play that run. You know, if you get in Isaac, Brimstone, Polyphemus, Mom's Knife, Anti-Gravity Tears, even something like Number 1, which just minimizes your range, all of those very much change how you play. You know, each one has a very different, I am doing something a little bit differently this game. And even though there will be games where you're like, yeah, I'm just going to pick these particular items because I know these are good, there's still a lot of variance and it changes the way the actual run goes. In Gungeon, because every single gun, to a greater or lesser extent, changes how your attack pattern works, you will also play a little bit different. If all you have is the Scrambler, the Pea Shooter, you know, the M1, the Pea Shooter's the odd duck out in this one, but if you have a bunch of single-shot weapons, you're going to play very different than if you had the Skull Spitter and the AK-40, or the Skelebrake and the, you know, a bunch of these auto-attack weapons. And if you know, start running out of ammo, now you play very, very differently. If you can fly, it changes how you play. So the actual combat and interaction with the world changes a lot based on what weapons and, or Gunther. Though Gunther is basically, I just win and stop paying attention to the game. But whichever weapons and passive items you pick up, it tends to, at least for the first couple floors, maybe less so for later floors when you get more powerful and you tend to see, you know, the same stuff a lot. But at least for the first couple floors, you end up having kind of a different way to play the game. And you're making a lot more decisions, which I think is another thing that I notice. You know, you're doing a lot more of, okay, do I have the health to start making deals with the vampire? Do I have the, you know, the money to be spending? Am I, you know, do I feel strong enough to go down to the oubliette? Well, I mean, yes, you always feel strong enough to go down to the oubliette, but do I still feel strong enough to go down, you know, to the Abbey? You know, it very much changes where you're going there. And then what kind of gets to me with Hand of Fate is that no matter what weapon you have, you can have a club, you can have a sword, you know, you can have a shield or no shield. The actual combat's still the same. You get into combat, you swing a couple things, you dodge, roll out of the way. Most enemies have a very specific, how many, hold on, let me see how many actual spheres I have right now. I've been losing track. 77, okay. We need to do about 6 more fights, then we can start working on the greater sphere for a bit. Well, but that's the thing. If you look at... So, you're saying there's a story-based game and a random-based game, but if you look at Hand of Fate with stuff like Endless Mode, it is a random-based game. The weapons you get are random, the armor you get are random, the number of... the cards you get for the run are random. But in the combat system, which is the... in my eyes, it is the more interactive part of Hand of Fate, the combat system doesn't really change much. You know, you end up kind of fighting most enemies the exact same way, and kind of using your abilities the exact same way. So there's not this tremendous change. The other half of the game, which is the card mechanic and the card interaction, again, you're just kind of memorizing which cards do what, and then just either maximizing the positive output when you actually do have a card that you can get really good results on, or minimizing the negative output when you have a card that can be negative. There might be some changes with stuff like blessings and curses, but there's still going to be a lot of cases where you can minimize the curses and maximize the blessings. So it ends up having the situation where it's like the combat gameplay it doesn't have a lot of variance, and then the card-based gameplay, the actual cards don't have a lot of variance. The cards you get do, but even that's not changing much. So I appreciate the game. I think the game's great. I love playing it, but it doesn't really lead me to really want to go back much. And again, this is me as a player who I will go back and I will replay RPGs that I have already mastered. Like, I will eventually go back and play Skies of Arcadia again, even though Skies of Arcadia, I have mastered it. Like, I have, you know, I can almost 100% the game without a guide. Like, I've basically mastered Skies of Arcadia. I'll go back and replay, you know, Golden Sun, and I think I have actually 100% of the game no guide at this point. Like, I've actually done a playthrough of it where I collected like every gin, did everything with 0 guides, because I've done it enough. So I'm saying this as a person who does replay games and does do that stuff, but there seems, for me, there's like a fundamental difference between how Hand of Fate does it and how I feel playing these other games. I mean, it's a very similar reason on why I stopped playing Dead Cells. I like Dead Cells, but I didn't feel, and I love the music, the gameplay feels so damn solid, the controls are amazing, the concept is great, but I started to feel like every run was basically the exact same. I didn't feel as if things were changing. And that's just like, okay, well, I'm not interested in playing a roguelike where nothing changes. Like, if I want to play an action game where nothing changes and I'm playing for the action, then I want to play Mark of the Ninja. I want to play a Mario. I want to play. Yeah, and if it's supposed to be like that, like, remember, I'm not criticizing it. I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm saying it doesn't make me want to play more. Other people might, but it doesn't really make me want to play more. It's one of the reasons why I don't tend to play the randomly generated platformers like 20XX and stuff like that. Because if I'm just gonna play a platformer that the only thing that, you know, the only difference in the platformer is just that the platforms are randomly generated, I'd rather play a game where the platforms were designed in order to you know, maximize. No, it's not that it's unfair. 20XX is fair, and it's a good game. But, like, if I'm going to play a platformer, I would rather play, you know, the new Super Mario Brothers, where every level was meticulously crafted and tested to make sure that, oh, I don't know that game. But I'd rather play a game where the actual levels were kind of meticulously crafted, because I would rather have, like, that style of game. Like, I would rather have a platformer where there is an end and I can master each level, rather than have a procedurally generated engine, a procedural generation engine create platforms for me that may not necessarily always feel as good. If the gameplay is not going to change, then I want to play something that was crafted for that concept. If you're going to give me a roguelike or a, similar game or procedurally generated game, I need the gameplay to actually change from run to run. I think it's the same reason why I stopped playing Rogue Legacy. It doesn't have to change much, but, each run needs to not feel like the exact same run I just played. Okay, so we are almost done with the first half of the Earth Eater fighting. So this is going to be the last Earth Eater fight for a bit. Then I'm going to start fighting the Greater Sphere. The Greater Sphere fight is going to be basically the same thing that I'm doing now. I'm just going to be tapping A constantly. But I'm actually almost maxed on Fortune Spheres at this point. So now I need to get the Luck Spheres. That way I can actually use up the Fortune Spheres. So that's where we're heading now. So that should be interesting. Fortune doesn't favor fools. I don't know. Fortune and luck are the same thing, though. Okay, so here's the Greater Sphere. The Greater Sphere is a refight of the Spheromorph, also from earlier in the game. And the Greater Sphere works like that. It does that. Occasionally, I will just end up flat losing to the Greater Sphere because of crap like that. So the problem is that every time... So with the Greater Sphere, every time you use a... what's the word I'm looking for? Every time you use an overdrive, it reacts with hydraulic press, that attack right there. So you can't really overdrive it, but every time you attack it, it reacts with Ultima. And Ultima is kind of a long attack. So this is just going to take a bit, just because we have to watch all the animations. Including watching in slow motion, watching the Spheromorph, gradually build itself. So this is just how this is going to be. It's just going to, every time I attack it, it's going to cast Ultima, which takes forever. So the hope is that it's going to kill someone with Ultima, and then that person will re-raise. Or raise the allies. There we go. Now the problem is it'll hydraulic press, and that's the issue. If it hydraulic presses, then I just flat lose. So I got to figure out something to do about that. And the problem is we don't actually have re-raise yet as an ability. See, it could do that attack, which I find it kind of obnoxious that it didn't do that attack. I need Riku's mixes. Why did I put that away?
saw Aerial Ravager act.
Which one has re-raise on it? One of these has re-raise on it. Auto life. Light curtain, underdog's secret. I don't think I actually need these. Glad I used that. Yeah, the Spheromorph is just an obnoxious... Oh, why'd I do that? That was really stupid. Spheromorph is just an obnoxious enemy to fight. Is there a way to beat it? Yeah, you just have to deal enough damage before it kills you. That is the way you beat it. I don't think it has a ton of health, if I remember correctly. But I just let it hydraulic press me because I'm dumb. But yeah, I don't think it has a ton of health. It's just... it just does that level of damage. So I'm trying to think of how I wanna respond to this. I want you to be set to comrade. I want you set to comrade. I want you set to comrade. So yeah, there is a way to beat it, and we have to. We got to beat it about 60 times. I'm just trying to... The way I would normally beat it is to have Waka overdrive it, but Waka is not currently available. So I'm trying to think of another better way to do that. You received a group of Dilbert books? That sounds kind of cool. The thing we're going to do is we're going to let Anima do stuff, and we're going to see how this works. I forget. Is it immune? Okay. So that's what we're going to do. I mean, it's about the same either way, to be honest. So never mind. We'll just do normal attacks. It's faster. Well, apparently hydraulic press instantly kills Anima. That's great. Didn't know that. Why is that poor anglerfish chained? That is Anima, and Anima is... there's stuff. That's Yojimbo's, not Yojimbo's, that's Seymour's mom as a summon. Okay, so hydraulic press just instantly kills all summons, so can't really use summons against it. So that's not really an option. So apparently we're going to quick hit our way to victory because the game is not going to give me any other options here. It's a shame that you didn't like those bugs, because those bugs, the Magus Sisters, are generally the most powerful summon in the game. There we go. We actually killed it. So we just have to do that over and over and over. Nope, about 59 to go. Maybe less than that, actually. If I'm able to do what I did that time and overkill it, we only actually have to do 29 of these. We'll see how lucky I am, though, because that is a luck thing. I need to make sure I go before he does, so that's going to be a thing here. Okay, you're just going to quick hit. Now, okay, so Anima's down, right? Okay, so we can't really do that. So what I'm going to do is you are going to... Okay, this is what we're going to do. You're going to quick hit. And do it again. You are just going to double mix Mega Potion. You are going to just quick hit. Darn it. I need it to not do specifically that. Like it is not you know what I could do? Okay, I have a new strategy. Well, I'm trying to see if I'm just being stupid. Because it's not randomly wiping out the party. It is very much, like, specifically wiping out the party. And that is a little bit of a different... Like, that is a horse of a completely different color. Okay, that works. No, it is white. We're trying to paint it daffodil. Okay, I want to see. How much does Prey heal at this point? Not enough. Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the strategy to actually beating the Greater Spheromorph. Like, regularly, because he's kind of kicking my ass. Okay. Let's see what I need right now. Antidote and Lunar. Okay, we can do that. Oh, wait. Power. Oh, 2 powered? Oh, I can do that. That's... Okay. That is an extremely doable mix. Okay. Yeah, as I said, it's a horse of an extremely different color. Okay, I just figured it out. I just figured out what I want to do. As I said, normally when you do this fight, you do it with Waka, and Waka like, uses his thing to kill it really quickly. And we don't have access to Waka, so I have to do this in a slightly different way. Which, the way I have to do it requires Riku to take her turn. And unfortunately, Riku went last. So, we're going to use 2 of these. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you, my friend. Do I not have... I guess we're going to do. We're going to... Okay, so this is what I have to do. Yeah, man, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know anybody who's having as much issues as you are with the stream. Okay, I forgot about Entrust. We need to be using Entrust. Yeah, rip Anima. It got two turns in a row, which kind of sucks. And Tidus does not have access to other stuff yet. Neither do you. We're just gonna have you wait because I need Yuna to start healing. Okay, now we're good. Okay, Yuna, I need you to actually take your damn turn, please, because I need Riku to be healed. Thank you. I'm really hoping it doesn't, Okay. Riku, why didn't you actually gain health from that? That was really weird. Riku should have gained health from that, and for some reason did not gain health from that. Because she got, like, 18,000, an 18,000 on a drain. So kind of weird. Well, not just its death animation, but its startup animation too. Its startup animation is terrible. That sucks. I need Anima. Anima actually does enough damage. So I need to hit it, like... I need to hit it a couple times, and then Anima needs to go, is what I need to do. Okay, Tidus. Double cast. Osmos, please. And Juke and Pray. I think we're actually gonna have to actually go and, like, actually heal every once in a while. At least we got the overkills, which is speeding this up. Still gonna have to kill it about 30 times, though. So I think what we do is everybody gets, like, 3 quick hits, and then we summon Anima for the kill. I think that's what I need to do. So we'll see if that does enough damage. I'm not 100% sure how much health it has, and I don't feel like looking it up. Well, Flare is only doing, about 50,000 damage. So I don't think that's gonna help. I actually looked into doing that earlier, and it didn't do anything. 1.5 million? Okay. And Anima's only doing about 600,000. Not quite enough, sadly. So it needs to be more like 11 hits than summon. Or maybe 10, apparently. 10 hits, then summon. I wish this didn't count as a cutscene, so that way we could, like, get the 4x anime or 4x going. Okay, so what I think we need to do then, if we're gonna do 4 hits then summon, then Riku does need to mix on her first opportunity. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that works about right, actually. That it looks like that's actually going to work out. Okay, 10 hits, then summon. That works. And then it looks like, what is it? Tidus already has his, so he can entrust to Yuna, and then... Actually, it doesn't matter, as long as we entrust after the, after the hits. Preemptive strike, huh? I like the sound of that. One, 2, 3. 4. 5. This is not working very well. 6. 7. Too many people are dying, and it's going to hydraulic press. 8. Yep. So, I'm going to have to go hit. I'm going to have to heal between fights. Which is actually very annoying to me. But it slows us down a little bit. It depends on the game, Avanius. In Final Fantasy XIV, raids are... oh my god, it leads with 1? Screw that nonsense. Yeah, let's just hydraulic press immediately. Before anybody gets a chance to take a turn. Oh my god, this boss sucks so much. Okay, there we go. In Final Fantasy XIV, our raids are kind of scripted dungeons, but they're kind of miniature scripted dungeons. So they're not meant to last that long, and it's like 3 short scripted dungeons followed by an epic boss fight. That was what, 5? 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This feels like hydraulic press is coming. Yep. Okay, well, at least Yuna's still up. Huh. Neat. It reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy XI's Absolute Virtue. I don't know why you wouldn't just keep it. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just keep it. That would mean there's like nothing in the game that is more interesting for you to have than that item. Two. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hydraulic press, hydraulic press. 10. Yeah, I don't know how Yuna is the one that's surviving every time. It's kind of amazing. I'm kind of amazed, I'm not gonna lie. So again, this would be a little bit easier if I was using Waka, because you would just entrust your, overdrive to Waka, and Waka would just overdrive, and it would basically instantly kill this thing. So it's now a little bit slower now that we're not using Waka anymore. Why am I doing this the stupid way? Oh, Yuna actually has more health than the other two right now. That's why. It's kind of interesting. That's primarily because we haven't actually gone into her section and erased... Like, we haven't erased all of her spheres yet. And we did do that to Tidus and to Riku. So that's why she's surviving. She just has more health than they do. It's interesting. Okay. We is gradually killing this thing. See, I don't know why you wouldn't do that. Like, I don't understand the concept of someone selling it. Why are mages glass cannons? Because there has to be a downside somewhere. Mages tend to be some of the most powerful, like, damage classes, so they have to have a downside somewhere. You gotta actually have that, balance somewhere. I mean, I guess you can do that, but, like, you could earn the money to do that later, but apparently you're never gonna see this hat again. So, to say, yeah, I'm gonna give up on this item that is super rare to get something that I could get anyways, I don't know, man. I will, not gonna lie, I would go rare cosmetic over playable, usable armor every day of the week. Because if I can earn it, I will just go earn it, you know? Well, yeah, so a hat that is dropped like 40 times in 22 years, or equipment that will take you 3 years to get. I mean, again, to me, the cosmetic wins. God damn it, I really do not want the dark matter drops in this. Now, keep in mind, I do, like, Final Fantasy 14 has a pretty epic cosmetic system, and I tend to go after cosmetics for my stuff. Thankfully, none of the ones I've wanted are particularly rare, but, yeah, I mean, that doesn't actually change how I feel at all. That actually makes me more feel that it was wrong to sell the hat. Again, that's my personal preferences when it comes to games like this, but... Fortunately, I do have links turned off in the chat. So you're going to have to just direct send that to me or something. Yeah, I had issues with spam bots in the past, so I had to turn it off. Because there's just random porn links dropping in the chat. It's just not cool. Okay, not bad.